Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. My name is Jose. I am a golden in Kendo, and today we're going to be watching some Kendo videos, hopefully breaking down some of Ippons and some of the things that are happening. So hopefully we can take it into our Kendo. And I have a couple of things that I want to share with you as well. So I hope you enjoy the stream. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you have any suggestions or questions, this is a good way or place to share them. I'm doing, I guess, a new setting, right? I'm trying to do this vertical to see how it comes out. So your feedback, whether it is on the audio, on the video, and like everything that's running smoothly, will be greatly appreciated. Um, yeah. So changing things around, trying to make things better. So your feedback is always appreciated. What I'm gonna do too, if you didn't know, if you're new here, we have a Discord channel that you can join and you can meet some new Kendo people. You can, if you have any questions, anything that you want to say, it's a good way to contact me. So the link it's on the chat right now. Feel free to join it and make new friends. If you, I'm gonna pin it so that was at the top um, of the chat. So yeah, if you want to send me a video, if you want to ask questions, if anything like that, make sure that you join the Discord. It's a great way to contact. So um, thank you very much for being here and letting me know how everything goes. It's a good way. If you could please hit the like button and let me know where you're watching from. I'm still trying to figure out what's the best times to do this stream, so I appreciate a little bit of your feedback. So this week I had, I think, three practices. I was able to do three practices. There were a couple of days off. And I feel that one of the main focus that I'm being pushed on at the dojo, it's understanding the communication with my opponent. So I guess in a way, talking about seme and understanding how to approach the opponent and take advantage of opportunities, but at the same time make the opportunities myself. So I'm gonna be analyzing a lot of that on the videos today. And I forgot there's a quick video that I recorded that I'm getting an error. S- Let me see what's happening. Okay. Please let me know if there's anything that doesn't look right. I just got an error on my stream. First time that I do this vertical, so please I'll appreciate your feedback. Um Paul, thank you very much for passing by. How are you doing? It's been a while. Man, I'm trying to go back. Okay, so I'm in Japan right now for anybody that's watching and didn't know. And I'm trying to go back to US for a few weeks. Probably in September, but I don't know how much I'm gonna be able to travel within the US. But I would love to visit Memphis. Um, okay, if there's anything wrong with the stream, please let me know because I don't know what's happening with the. I'm getting an error. But so let me tell you a little bit about what I was talking about pressure and communication with your opponent. So most of the times when we're trying to attack, it's I see often that we often attack either from way too close or way too far, and what happens before that attack is very important. And a lot of times, many of us, we just go and attack. Like maybe we cannot take the pressure. Maybe we feel that we're giving pressure, but we're not getting any response and we just attack. Um, that's one of the number one things that you want to avoid during your practice. You want to try to figure out what is something that you can do to get a reaction from your opponent. And from there, you start figuring out what are the things that you should be doing before the attack. So I I'm gonna talk more about this in the next stream that I'm doing for the members, but I just want to introduce this because I think it's a very important concept. This week, the sensei that I practice with, he was explaining that if you want to attack from far away, of course, you cannot just attack by just being here and attacking, right? You have to start communicating from a little bit before or even when the sword starts touching and try to put that pressure. Normally, what according to the explanation that I got, normally what works the best at this distance is that you do a sharp entry and then you do a bigger attack that you will normally do. So, for example, a lot of times when we're practicing to hit men, we want to try to do a very compact man, right? You shouldn't always be practicing that, by the way, but normally a lot of people like to practice a very compact man where like the tip doesn't lift so much, and that's cool. But when you're attacking from farther away, what happens with that is that it gives the opportunity for your opponent to grab your shinai and push it out of the way. So then now you're completely open for them to counter. Um, that's one of the biggest things that you want to keep in mind when you're attacking from far. And so yeah, let me catch up a little bit with the comments before that. Paul, come visit. I would love to come visit. I'm guess like I haven't been to Memphis in so many years, and there's a lot of friends that I want to come say hi. So yeah, and if you guys come to Japan, by the way, please let me know if you need any help or you know want to go grab a drink or something to eat. I'll be honored to come meet you guys and help you guys around too. Um, Hector Garcia, thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate the sub. Um, Saru self found. Okay, Saru, I'm gonna call you Saru if that's okay. Kendo Tips will love any advice on what it means to use your height to your advantage. Okay, cool. Um, you took it as trying to play it the outside, but it resulted in you backing up and being criticized. How can you use it? How you can use height? So I'm guessing that you're tall, right? Just confirm that real quick for me, and we can talk a little bit further about it. Let me talk a little bit about the distance first because I think it also relates to that. But yes, let me know if you're tall or short. Um, One of the things that you want to make sure is that after you pass this distance, you want to attack before this point in when your shinais are crossing, right? Because if you start attacking past this, it starts becoming uh what's it called, very convoluted, like it becomes very cloudy, it's easy to dodge, it's easy to deflect, and it just kind of starts to become locked, especially if you're attacking from here without putting any previous pressure. You want to make sure that you create a reaction once you start getting at this distance. If you want to attack at this distance, if not, if you want to, if you have to attack at that distance, you want to make sure that you are sharp, that you are hitting with a very short footwork, that you're not overextending, because you want to make sure that you hit with the proper place, but also that you transfer the power. Because a lot of times it happens that you hit when you're too close, you hit too deep, or just the attack comes out kind of weird and there's no power. So a lot of times maybe that they're not going to give you ippon, and it's very easy to deflect, so you have to be able to have proper technique the closer you are, um, and making sure that you have that pressure before you get here. Okay, I'll expand that. I'll expand on that a little bit later. But um, Saru, you're saying that you are tall, so you want to learn how to use height to your advantage. So I think that both sides have advantages and both sides have disadvantages. It's just learning how to play and to fight against each other depending on the kendo that you are going to find. There's an article from Chiba Sensei many years ago that he posted in the Kendo World magazine that it talks a lot about fighting against different opponents. And he actually talks about short and tall. But the main thing you want to understand is what is your opponent doing and how they're approaching it. So, for example, if you're taller, you can use the distance, but what that means is not that you're gonna be backing up, is that you want to make sure that you're ready once your opponent starts closing the distance, because you know that they feel uncomfortable and they have to close the distance. Okay, so if they're closing to you and you're backing up, then that's not good. You want to always have a forward mentality. If the opponent starts pushing in, you have the opportunity to come in, challenge that pressure, and then make him attack randomly or making him hesitate. Because as I said, they feel uncomfortable already by being in a distance that is impossible for them to hit. That makes sense. So, for example, if your opponent is at the distance and you're taller than they are, most likely you feel comfortable hitting them from here. But maybe they don't, right? So they automatically they're going to try to come in a little bit further, giving you the opportunity to hit them as they approach. That's one of the moments where I think it's uh most beneficial for being taller than your opponent. Um, that being said, if your opponent is ready and they're good, they have good footwork, good footing, and they're approaching you with good pressure and keeping the feet grounded, they can deflect you. So that's something that you want to keep in mind. So I think the next level after that, when you start figuring out, okay, I can attack when they're coming in, is that instead of just attacking when they're coming in, reply with pressure or have the pressure before they move in. Then as they're starting to move in, keep putting pressure so then you can attack and you have more certainty on the opening. So it's a combination of semi and tame, of course. I don't know what level you are. If you can tell me, what rank you have, I can be a little bit more specific or like maybe the expectation of that rank. But ideally, you never want to be the one backing up. If the person is coming forward, I think it's going to be very beneficial for you to, again, practice learning how to attack at a shorter distance. Okay. Um, so even attacking on place. So one drill that I actually got from one of my senseis at the dojo lately. Let me try to put this. So um, a lot of times we practice kotemen, and the kotemen goes very far, right? You can do kotemen for a very far distance, but what this sensei is, pushing to do, not only me, but a lot of people at the dojo, is to hit the kotemen, kote in place, and then men sharply after, right? So that way you learn how to create power and speed and follow through in such short distance, but it catches your opponent, by surprise, especially if they expect you to go further. The other drill that I think it's very good from the sensei too is hitting kote no kimen, where you're in command, and instead of moving back to avoid, sorry, I have something in my throat. Let me get some water. So you want to do kote no kimen as a drill as well. And instead of going backwards to avoid the hit, and again, this is something that you do in Kihon. Of course, you can apply this to Jigeiko, but it's a drill for Kihon, right? So being here and then just moving the hand out of the way and then hitting immediately after, right? Just keeping the back leg engaged, keeping your forward pressure, and making sure that you get the right distance. So if the opponent comes very close, you cannot really take a big step. You have to kind of do it in the spot, but you still have to have good engagement with the back leg, bring the back leg forward, and be straight. Um, which, by the way, guys, normally after this stream, this isn't my normal regular weekly stream, but after I do a members only stream and I talk a little bit of behind the scenes on my practices here in Japan. So if you would like to support the channel and get a little bit of extra stream. Um, Let me put the link for that stream in a second here in the chat. And by the way, guys, at the top of the chat, we also have the link for the Discord members. If you would like to be a member, it's completely free. Just click in there and come meet some good Kendo people. And if you would like to send me a message, send something, that's the best way to contact me. Okay. Mm, so, Sarah, let me know if that kind of um, answer a little bit of your questions, or if it made you have more questions, so that way we can address them, because I think it's fun talking about all this stuff here, especially when I can go back and forth with people. Um, okay, so you're Shodan. So now I had a friend that does jiu-jitsu, and he was impressed on how quick we get to Shodan compared to them. I don't know how, what the in other martial arts, I don't know what the timing is for each rank. Um, and interesting enough, I think that Shodan Shodan can have a lot of challenges, and but it's definitely seeing Shodans around the world. It's interesting as well because there's many differences in level just at that Shodan level alone, right? Um, I think by Godan, Yondan starts kind of balancing out, but there's a big gap, I think, in many different countries at the Shodan Nidan level. So I think the expectation always for Shodan, for me at least, going to be is understanding how to hit properly, right? And a lot of times we are trying to get more energy, and what I'm about to say relates a lot to the height as well. So that's why I'm saying it. So don't I hope I don't lose you on this one. But um, a lot of times we try to hit harder, so we put oh shoot we put more strength on the hands, we put a lot more effort on like throwing the upper body, and really to get a good hit you don't need to put so much power in the upper side of your body, but instead doing it from the bottom of your body, and your legs are the biggest thing. This week I actually got the explanation that when you're hitting your technique, you don't want to bring your leg back because that makes your upper body go forward, right? So many times when we try to do fumikomi, you see people throwing the leg and then bringing it back. I'm exaggerating, of course, but you want to make sure that you just allow the leg to kind of bring you forward, and you want to throw your body. I mentioned that in my last video, by the way. You want to throw your body with your back leg, and then the forward leg brings you forward. And because you throwing the body forward, the arms, they don't need to do this, right? They don't need to do this. Instead, you need to just throw them forward. And then as you do that and you connecting with your shoulder, with your wrist and your tenouchi, it's gonna give you a sharper, stronger impact because your weight lands on the target rather than you forcing your hit into the target. So if you learn to move sharply all together with your whole body, Kiken Taichi, right? In a shorter distance, you're gonna get such a stronger impact with a lot less effort. I hope that makes sense. So please let me know. Um, so sorry, you said you definitely have that habit of overextending and pulling too much uh, top body pressure. Yeah, and I think it's a big characteristic of Western Kendo compared to Japanese Kendo. And the way that it was explained to me is that the feeling, not how you do it, but the feeling should be that your arms go forward, but your body goes back, right? So instead of going like this, you want to kind of like throw your arms forward and have the feeling that your body's going back. But obviously, you don't want to pull your body backwards, right? You still want to have forward momentum, but just be careful of that leaning forward into it. Um, so yeah. Now let me tell you a little bit about what we're talking about last week, and we're gonna be talking a little bit more about communication. So last week I was playing a video on a practice, right? Like a regular practice at the dojo, and it was very interesting. So we're gonna continue watching that a little bit. Okay, sorry guys, I only have one monitor right now because I have very little space, and I moved in here, I guess not so long ago, and I haven't had the opportunity to go buy a monitor, an extra monitor. So 1 second, guys. Mm. Okay, let me know if you can see it properly, if everything looks fine there, and let me see if I can put this the screen here so I can watch at least the chat as we're doing this. 1 second, guys. Okay, awesome, perfect. Okay, great stuff. Okay, I think I can see everything that I need to see. Good. Okay, so we're watching this practice. On the right, we have the sensei, and on the left, we have the student. Um, we're going to what I want to do here is watch a little bit about how the students try to break the center, come in, and of course we're going to do a couple of drills with them after, and we're going to keep watching the video anyways. So I hope you enjoy it. And Paul, the feeling that your arms go forward but body goes back is quite profound. Yeah, and then like it's one of those things that you hear and you're like, I knew that, but I didn't. That's how I felt when I was saying it, when I heard it. And it's one of those things that I know many senses have different way of saying it, but they tell you the same thing, and it's definitely one of those things, I think. Anyways, let's watch a little bit of this. Let me know if you can hear it properly, please. Okay, so I said I was going to talk a little bit about communication, and one of the things that when I ask people from Japan, what do they feel is different from Japanese kendo, the number one thing they tell me is the communication. They say that a lot of times communication is not there. And a lot of times they compare it to high school or college kendo, right? And that type of interaction uh, is kind of like this. Here, the guy on the left, he's trying to make an opening. He's trying to, um, I'm not gonna say communicate, but he's trying to get the opening to come in. And I think it's different communicating versus just trying to go for an opening. And then maybe out of desperation, he just goes. But if you look at the person on the right of Mori Sensei, he hasn't given any indication that he's open. Maybe player on the left took the center, but he's so relaxed, he's so ready that all he has to do is just make a little motion, and even without making so much of a motion, he already felt, right? Little bit of a motion, and then he's able to just mess with his attack. Does that make sense? See, like he came in, he attacked. He could have had. I think that he maybe could have had a better opportunity for the men if he wouldn't have held back, but he's kind of just having a conversation by himself, right? Maybe he's speaking, but he's not listening. Is that if that's a good analogy, I guess. So again, this one, you see, he comes in. He's coming in nervous, and he's coming in why? Because his opponent came in, right? He's coming in, his opponent comes in, so he feels that he needs to come in and he attacks. Even if he would have gotten a good man, if you were talking about like testing situation, maybe it wouldn't have looked good because he's coming in from desperation. On the other side of when your sensei tells you, don't care if you're getting hit, I think a good example is Mori sensei on the right because he you know, of course, he's trying to help the student. He's coming in, he's trying to give pressure and not really caring if he gets hit. Um, in this one, so if you watch, hold on, I see a couple comments. JD, you like my recent video about the left foot being brought back into place quickly. You had one question. You mentioned about throwing. I'm guessing you're saying throwing your weight forward. Could you talk about this more? Yeah, yeah, okay, I'll talk about it in a second. I actually wanted to I've been meaning to make these streams when I post a video about like discussing like the points in the video. So I'll talk about it in a second. Paul, I don't I don't know the age and rank. I'm gonna guess. I think this is university, right? Sorry, my kanji reading is not that good. Um, I don't see what. Let me cheat right now and put Google Translate real quick. Let me just do a Google Translate here. If I can tell you, if I can see this. Um, okay. So yeah, university. So I'm gonna guess that he's between like 18 to 21, and most likely it's either Sandan or Yondan. Um, yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Nidan. Yeah, I don't think Yondan. This is the thing. In my experience, a lot of times in college kendo, they focus so much on the athletic part that a lot of the things um that we focus for like higher level is not always there. But I think you're right. I think Nida might be Nida or Sandan. I think Sandan. I'm not gonna say Nida, but yeah, I think Sandan. I think Sandan. And JD, also what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna in the video, I'm sure I can find a good example of what I mean about throwing the body. I'll point out. Don't think I forgot. Just give me a second. So this is something that happens to me often, guys, and I'm gonna share it just so hopefully it doesn't happen to you. You see the student on the left, he takes a step, but look how long the step is before he's actually engaging into a technique. So he's forced to bring the back foot forward, and then he's kind of too close and took too long to to re-engage in order to counter the attack, right? So this is something especially here that I was being caught so many times, and the cure that I found to this, because it happens, right? Sometimes you're taking the step, then you kind of keep pushing forward thinking you're going to attack, but then you have to readjust. And the cure to that, because I'm not going to say don't do big steps. Of course, avoid big steps. But the cure or like the solution to that, to not get caught off guard. For example, he came in, he made a mistake. He realized he made a mistake. So he has to bring the foot forward. The real mistake in my case is that bringing that back foot so deep in. When you see high level kendo, like high level senses, when this happens to them, they don't bring that back foot forward all the way. They cannot just take half a step, quarter of a step to re-engage the foot, but also give them the proper standing so they can do a proper technique. So it's much quicker to do a sharp and quick movement to go forward. Does that make sense? So let me see. Sorry guys, I still haven't put everything together in the buttons that I need to, so I can switch the camera and stuff like that. So it takes me a second. So of course you want to avoid coming into this like such a spread. But let's say that he was gonna attack. He realized, okay, the opponent moved. So instead of bringing the back foot all the way in, one thing you can do is just take a smaller step so you can re-engage and come quicker. And always don't forget that you want to make sure that back leg comes quicker than the right leg move forward. Okay, that's one thing. So sorry, I forgot your name. JDE. Okay. Let me talk real quick here since I'm standing up now and I can talk about this. So what I mean by okay, let me see if I can turn off the tracking thing. Okay, and then I can make it go a little bit lower. Is that gonna work? Okay, maybe a little bit more lower. Okay, so a lot of times what happens for us in kendo is that we take such a long step and we still depending on this leg to hold us until we bring the forward leg, until we engage the forward leg, right? And that makes it very slow. You want to make sure that the back leg comes quick and relax, right? And as soon as it kicks here, it's like you want to land here to be able to kick again. But what I mean by throwing the body forward is that you don't want to depend on this leg holding you all the way, right? So especially when you have to do like a long fumikomi, even when you do a short fumikomi, you want to get that foot off the ground, right? Like before, and this is actually something that I see a lot of the senseis do at the dojo, where like they just switch the way forward. So you want to make sure that you throw the weight off the ground. You throw your body forward rather than supporting it. Rather than supporting it to go like that. Because if you see, if I do that naturally, my body starts doing this, like that. Even if I try to hold it, then it becomes really slow, right? You want to push so that way it's smooth and all together, right? And when you hit your fumikomi, same thing, right? You want to throw the body forward and immediately try to come in forward, shift the weight, and uh, make sure you're smooth. It's a little bit hard to put it all together in one picture when I don't have the space, right? But it's very important that you start breaking it down so you can actually individualize all the problems that you may be having, and then put it all together. But ideally, you want to make sure that you stay uh, in the same level. You have good balance. Keep your body straight. And as you come forward, you want to throw your body with your left leg forward. And I'll try to find a good example here. Oh, sorry. I'll try to find a good example here in a second in the video. Um, yeah, if you have any more questions, please let me know. Paul, you said that he realized he made a mistake. Yeah, we all been there, right? Like, and sometimes we don't realize it. Um, so and yes, and that's a position we find ourselves often, right? Okay, if you're, this is what I'm being told for my Rokudan preparation. You want to control the opponent, and every time that you feel that you had to do something, you were controlled. Does that make sense? Okay, the last part was opinion. That I wasn't. Um, yeah, the last part was opinion. Tandem the hi, welcome to the stream. Thank you very much for passing by and saying hello. I'm streaming from Japan. Yeah, Osaka, by the way. Sensada, saludos desde Venezuela. Thank you for passing by. I appreciate it. Akagi Sensei. Where's Akagi Sensei from? Um, and thank you everybody for putting the comments too. Um, so yeah, um, when we feel that moment that we had to do something, we were control. And I'm not saying to hold yourself back or like just think that you know you have to fix it or whatever. No, it's okay. It's just to understand what happened. But you always want to be in that position where like what can you do to make your opponent feel that way? That's what I'm always being told lately at the dojo. Akagi Sensei, nice to meet you. I haven't been to Indianapolis, but if you happen to pass by Osaka, please let me know, and I would love to meet you. So we can maybe get some practice or go for some yakiniku. That would be awesome. Um, or ramen. I don't know, guys. Like I always been ramen person, but I'm living in an area where it's close to like a lot of yakiniku places, so I'm kind of obsessed with yakiniku lately. Mm, and yeah, that's my tangent for the day, I guess. Okay, let's keep watching a little bit more of this video, guys. Give me 1 second so I can switch up the cameras. Okay. I think this is the spot where last week I. Oh, JD, you're in Osaka for real. Oh, nice. Where like maybe we can communicate. If you can, at the top of the stream, at the top of the chat, there's oh, not at the top, it's pinned in the chat. There's a Discord server. If you want to send me a message, maybe we can meet up some point, have some practice together. That would be cool. Um, and where are you from? Are you from Japan or are you like from another country? Let me know. Um, so yeah, what I was saying about communication. So I think last week I stopped to break down this specific exchange real quick, and I think that this one is the one that he shows the best. The student shows the best the communication, right? Where like he's coming in, he's putting the pressure, he's not committing um he's not committing too early, and he's coming in, he's holding in, and then this is a part like of feeling, this is a part of understanding, practicing with different people and doing all these different things, and he comes in at a much better timing. You see he's coming in very nicely. Of course the sensei kind of had a little bit of an advantage of him, but I think the communication and the understanding of the situation was very good from the side of the student. I was mentioning that depending on the rank, if you show this, you could pass your rank, but of course, like Yondan, Godan, and above, you still need to do more. But this is definitely positive points, I think, for your ranking. I think it was a very good exchange. Um, you're from UK, cool, awesome. I actually somebody joined the dojo that he was living in UK. Maybe like 4 or 5 years. I think 4 or 5 years ago, he lived in UK for like 3 years. Uh, yeah, he's Japanese, but he's coming back from Japan because he was living in UK and now he joined the dojo. So I'm getting to meet a lot of UK people lately. That's fun. You know George, by the way. Okay, so JD, we're talking about throwing the body forward, right? Uh, I'm not gonna say that this is the best example, but the best example overall in Kendo. But definitely this here, you can see how the guy on the left, the student on the left, he throws himself into the opponent, right? Like he both feet are on the air and he's coming forward. And that shows his back leg engagement and throwing his body all the way, like using his hip and going in forward with a lot of energy. So when you're coming in like this and you properly use your tenuchi and your arms, you can get a very sharp strike without putting so much effort on your hands and your arms, right? So, of course, because of the covering and the timing and stuff like that, he had to readjust. But because he threw himself forward and he had a good engagement on the back leg, it allowed him to get ready immediately. You see, he lands and immediately goes for another attack. Makes it so makes your attacks be able to be more fluid and come in with so much power and speed. Um, Footwork, I think, is the key to good kendo. And lately, I have even kind of come to realize that even if you understand seme, if you don't have good footwork, you're gonna have a harder time applying it and getting good results from your seme if your footwork is suffering. Does that make sense? But I went too far. So you see, just the ability to move that quick is not that he has extra power than we all do. It's not that maybe he's more athletic because the level of practice that he does, but just the fact that he's fluid and he has proper technique helps him a lot. And by the way, one of the mistakes or one of the problems that we tend to have when we throw ourselves forward, especially when we're trying to keep our posture, is overarching our back. So especially we're talking about kind of keeping your body straight as you hit. A lot of times we tend to like overarch our back and that pulls us back and takes away power. You still have to have strong core and good posture as you attack forward, but using your legs, it's like number one, I think. Okay. Let me catch up with a couple of comments. Uh okay, you guys are talking, so okay, and Paul, you said it makes perfect sense. Thank you. If you have a different opinion, different thought, let me know. Okay, another. So you see, he's coming in for this man, and he's throwing his body forward. Right? Of course, he's trying to reach. He's going in with a lot of power. Um, but there's something that I wanna kind of point out here. You see, look at where the right foot is, and then he comes in with that much power, and look at where the right foot lands. Right? Let's see. So let's measure it by. Okay, when he's in kamae, when he has the left leg, um, left leg engaged, he moves the right foot. Let's see. He moved the right foot like about this amount of the shinai, right? He like okay, from here, oh, even less. Okay, he brings the back foot forward. So from here, when he comes in with the forward foot, yeah, like maybe about this much, he moves the foot forward. And a lot of times when I talk about that long, like hitting long attacks, I this to me it's a long attack, but it didn't start like Shinai wise. It didn't start so long, right? Because okay, let me just backtrack and give you a little bit of context. A lot of times, uh, I get comments and from previous videos and stuff talking about how I say that you want to avoid purely attacking from here, right? Because I feel that the opponent will have an easier time seeing you and countering you when you attack from this one, especially if you don't give any pressure or if you don't have an opening. I talked a little bit about earlier how to kind of overcome a little bit of that, but that doesn't mean that you don't want to throw a long attack. And the reason why this feels such a long attack is because when he engages into a technique, his kamae is spread out. If you watch, his feet are very apart, right? So, of course, having the ability to push yourself into a longer reach is very good, but you don't want to just blindly attack from this distance. You want to create pressure. So, I'm not saying that this is the correct or the only way to do it, but I guess the way that the student did it here is that he's using his forward leg. He's spreading his forward leg to kind of close the distance and communicate with the opponent so he has the opportunity to get an opening and then go. So, yes, he does need the ability to launch forward because his spread is very big, but he's using his footwork as a way to get an opening and communicate to the opponent to figure out when it's a good time to come in forward. Um, and I agree, back foot determines the distance of your launch. But for your opponent, they don't see your back foot, so they don't know how far you're coming from. So if you're using like he is right now, he's using your right foot to kind of gauge that communication, gauge that opening. You're allowing yourself to have the opportunity to figure out, do I can I go? Do I have another opportunity? Can I not go? A lot of things are happening if you're doing that. But if you're just blindly attacking from that far, most likely your opponent is gonna catch you. Um, you said you can tell. Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, especially when we're practicing with somebody that we practice often, we can tell, depending on the level as well. But a lot of times, especially when I see in the experience that I'm getting with senseis here, is that they do. Of course. Okay, hold on. Let me backtrack 1 second. You're right, especially when it's so obvious like this, you definitely can tell. The experience that I'm getting with senses here is that they do this at a much narrower level, right? They instead of like um spreading out and then attacking from that, of course they do like a little bit, make it feel like they're taking a step but then attacking. So I guess the foundations are the same, but the execution is much different. Because of course, this is I don't think, for example, that um I don't think that Mori Sensei on the right didn't see it coming. I for sure he let him attack, right? But I guess I'm trying to break down the concept. So thank you for bringing that up because I don't want that to be misunderstood. Um, Akagi Sensei, what is his rank? I have no idea. I am guessing because this is college stuff. It's gonna be like Nidan Sandan. And of course, the sensei on the right. I'm gonna say that maybe he's Nanadan, uh, based on the context. But um, I don't know. Sorry for that. But of course, I'm just talking about that concept, right? Like you don't want to. And a lot of times when sensei tells you, okay, don't open up your legs so much, I think it has to, but it's not, I think it has to do with that, right? It becomes very obvious. You see, this is when he's coming in like this, is coming with the legs very separated, is not beneficial for many different situations. And Morrison's on the right, he is definitely ready. He's definitely, if you see his back leg, he's more compact, his posture is much straighter, and he's gonna have more power to attack forward. So yeah, although many of us look like the guy on the right, on the left, you don't want to look like the guy on the left. You want to go to look more like the guy on the right. Oh, and the reason why I started all this was about talking about throwing your body forward, right? Although this is not like the example that you want to be copying, you definitely want to appreciate the fact that he's using his back leg and he's pushing all his body in. I don't think his landing is the best. And another thing is that he's hitting up, right? Like he's this is one of the reasons why it's tricky for me to share Kendo videos because there can be a lot of uh bad bad examples that I don't want anybody to start copying and stuff. Uh and that's definitely, although this will probably score you an Ippon in a Shiai, this is not what you're striving to do. And there's a couple of things here that I will advise against. But the fact that he's able to throw his body into a technique with so much power and so much, I'm gonna say freedom, I think that's something admirable. Um, Rodrigo, you're a beginner and you still have problems moving the arms before moving your feet. So actually that's kind of good. You want to move your feet before you move your arms. But you mean that, what do you mean? Can you be a little bit more specific? Because for example, if you watch, let's see, any attack that the sensei does here. Okay. If you watch the sensei on the left, the body, if you start watching the body starts moving first and then the arms engage. Right? So that's kind of what you want to strive for. Actually, the student on the right is kind of doing the same thing. You see, he's moving his body first, and then the last thing to engage is the arms. So that's not a bad thing. But I can understand that you have maybe some synchronization issues. So if you can be a little bit more specific on what you're going through, I can give you a couple more details. And Eduardo, desde Chile, saludos. Thank you for passing by. Let's see. So this attack, see, he's getting good engagement, right? But there's a couple of things that you definitely want to improve. Look how okay, look how more Sensei does it. See, he starts by moving the legs first, and when he comes in with that technique, with that attack, he's pushing forward. Now, mind you, you can see that here his back foot is not off the ground, right? That's okay too. You don't have to always be off the ground when you're attacking with your back foot. But what what you need to appreciate with this is that he's pushing with the body. The body is connecting with the sword and then bringing that energy into the target rather than hitting and then going with the motion. Does that make sense? And look how his body, his lower back, everything is coming together, right? And he has such a good posture immediately. He's able to get such a good posture immediately, and strength. He has stability, and he's able to do hikiwasa pretty much immediately as soon as he gets out of that subaseriai. Okay, if you get into the habit of having proper way to throw yourself forward, you always going to have a better engagement, more power, more speed, and more stability. Um, Rodrigo, you said you're a beginner. Okay, sorry, I read that one already. JD, you have a question too about pushing with the left foot. You're trying to get that motion better. How much is actually a forceful push versus pressure from the ground? Hmm, pressure from the ground. Okay, you want to be able to push forward as if you're walking. Um, okay, let me see. Is the camera following me? Ah, Eduardo, no te preocupes. Español está bien. I'll translate it. Okay. So, yo traduzco y te digo la respuesta en español también. Okay, so the back foot, and this is something also I'm working myself on. So I'm breaking it down a lot lately. Uh, you don't want to push up, right? You want to push forward. So again, it should be like walking. So that the motion, a lot of senses tell me use your calf, right? Like use your calf, but it's not that you're gonna be using your calf all the time. It's gonna be at the end, right? But ideally, you want to have a forward push, and it should be natural. So a lot of times, the best thing to do is practice it slow and practice it short, and then try to get it together. If you have your shinai to do, where's my little shinai here? Sorry, guys. Wait, okay. If you have your shinai here to do your suburi, right? You want to put it together with your suburi, and it's the same. As you start getting a little bit faster, or you're trying to do smaller technique, you want to do it from your back leg, but it should be natural. I mean, it can feel unnatural too, but it should be like a natural motion where you're pushing in with your back leg and naturally going forward. So I think maybe the reason why we struggle so much with this is because we try to hit down, put so much power here or put so much power here, where instead it should be about going forward. So by pushing with your back leg, you're coming in, and then your forward foot is kind of like scooping the ground to keep going forward, just like walking. Now the difference is going to be that when you push yourself forward, it's going to be slightly of a jump, and then you want to immediately stand up with your right leg, so that way your back leg comes forward. One thing that let me try to make it like stop following me. Okay. Okay. One thing that you want to try, one tip I've been giving lately is that to bring the foot forward, it's like you're kicking your back foot, right? So you want to like bring it forward. So does that answer your question? Um does that answer your question? Let me know. Or be more specific, please. Okay, let me catch up. Eduardo, déjame traducir lo siguiente, déjame hablar lo siguiente y vuelvo a tu comentario. Okay, so Akagi-sensei, you said you're against using the calf muscle. You know what? I agree with you. And a lot of times when they told me early on to use my calf muscle, okay, the way I like to explain it is use your whole leg. Okay, hold on. Camera sometimes. I don't know why. Okay. Okay. So the way I like to think about it, and the way I like to feel it, is use your whole leg, right? Now, lately I've been told to use more my calf muscle, but the way I understand it is to use it at the end, right? But me thinking about that, it kind of made me create more disorder on my, if that makes any sense, more disorder on my movement. So I understand the feeling, but it's just not the way I think about it. And I feel that sometimes when you tell people use the calf, they just want to have the calf all the time, like in Kamai and stuff. And yeah, maybe that's not the point. Another sensei explained it to me a little bit different and click better. Is that focus on pushing with the ball of your foot, right? Because I'm guessing, well, like it's not. I'm guessing. Uh, a lot of times when we're like in this position, many people kind of just like don't know how to put the leg. They experiment so much with the leg, and it just kind of goes into like different positions. But when you use the ball of your foot and you use it to go forward, you immediately do like the walking motion like this rather than this, I guess. Right? So I don't know. For me, it clicked that way, but that's why I tried to share as many different ways, and hopefully we can find uh like a proper one that fits for us. Does that make any sense? Please, if you have different explanations, guys, I'm always I'm always I always welcome it, because I'm not saying that I'm correct. Always listen to your sensei, and if you have different ways of explaining it, sometimes those ways click better with other people. So feel free to share them and call me out on mine, uh, so that way we can all learn. Okay, guys, I'm gonna read a comment in Spanish. I'm gonna translate it too. Um, so Eduardo says, ¿por qué es tanta la diferencia entre el orden que tenemos los americanos al competir? No así los japoneses o europeos. Se supone que las reglas son las mismas para hacer un punto. Um, ¿Qué quieres decir con el orden? Um, so he says that why is the order that we have between Americans and at the moment of competition to compete against Japanese and Europeans, if it's supposed to be the same rules, to make a point. So like I ask a little bit of clarification because I don't understand by what he said about the order. Um, I don't know if he means by the ranking or like the level. Okay, Sensei, you mean me? Like where am I from? Like originally born in Venezuela, but before coming to Japan, I'm a U.S. citizen, so I lived in U.S. For many years in Miami. Uh, yeah, Miami. So if you want to come to Miami too, let me know. Um, so yeah, I'm waiting for a little bit of clarification from Eduardo about that. Um, so sí, Eduardo, si puedes dar un poquito más de clarificación en cuál es tu duda. No entiendo la parte que me dices del orden. Um, so yeah, okay. Um, oh, Vihara Sensei in Orlando. Yeah, he's such a cool guy. I miss him. I saw him at the World Championship, and I went to US after the World Championship, but I couldn't go to Orlando to visit him. Um, I saw Ariga Sensei. I saw his test, but you mean I wasn't at the test. I saw his test later from a friend, but I saw him after in a little Keiko. So he was coming out. I think that's when he did his interview for the magazine, because the place looked very similar to where I practiced. But he was coming out when I was coming in for a Kendo event, for a Keiko event. Um, Paul, you said the calf muscle is used at the end to push. Yes, and that's the main point that I wanted to put, because for me, at the beginning, early on, when I was starting kendo and when I was being explained, I put so much weight on that leg, just thinking that I had to engage more my calf. And that is not correct, guys. Please be careful of your left foot, especially if it's cold, if you haven't stretched, if you don't drink enough water. You want to make sure you protect that Achilles tendon. It's golden, okay? So please be careful. Rodrigo, you said your problem is that you move your arms and shinai first, and only after it, you move your feet and your body. This way, my adversary always reads my movements and counterattacks. So your problem is that you move your arms shinai first. So, okay, so you're moving your shinai first. You need to switch it, right? You need to throw your body forward. So honestly, the biggest part that you want to practice, and it's probably the most boring one, is do it slow and do it on your own, right? Like, just take the time before practice starts. If you have dummy, or even at home, even do your suburi. One way of doing suburi that is very good for this, I think. Okay, let me put the camera here. Is doing long suburis with your legs, and then catching up with your hands. So, for example, if you're here, you're gonna do a very long suburi, right? So you're gonna, hopefully don't hit anything. You're gonna try to do a long stretch and then catch up. Sorry, guys, I look a little tense because I don't want to hit something, but you want to try to do long and then relax uh, with your arms and try to catch up. So, right, try to do it. So that way you force yourself to push with your legs, but then your arms catch up smoothly, not tight, which I feel like I am right now because I don't want to hit lamps or anything. Right, so catch up, move your legs first, and then use your arms, because it's very difficult, I know. And also, I mean, if you want to send me a video at some point, you can use the Discord server and I can tell you my thoughts. Listen to your sensei first, though. But a common mistake, and I talked a little bit about this earlier, is that people tend to like arch their back as they lift up, and then, like, so that makes them lose balance. So it could be a balance thing. It could be that could be the issue. So I would like to see more. So let me know if you can send a video or something. So the Discord server is up in the chat up top. Um, so Paul, you're saying fantastic demonstration and pushing with the no, I mean, there's a corner right over there that I keep hitting all the time. And I don't want to pay for the deposit. And then, of course, it's very small, even though I have a short shinai. Maybe I should get a shorter one to feel a little bit more comfortable. So normally do my suburi in the other room. So yeah, I think it could be better. Sorry, don't try to copy it so much, guys. So what I like to do. So I always appreciate all the members. All the members and the support for the channel. So I do a special stream for you members. So if you would like to join that stream, I'm gonna put the link to it here. You get a couple of extra perks if you're a member, but it's a way for me to say thank you. If there's anything that I can help, that's also a good way to do that. Um, Please also make sure that if you enjoy this, you got something from this, please hit the like button, because it really helps this streams to get pushed out to more people. Um, so you guys, this is one of the things that I like to do to kind of reflect on my own kendo. And then the next stream that I'm gonna do is a little bit behind the scenes of what I've been going through in practices and some of my specific issues and what I'm doing to solve them. And if you have any issues, you can share them and I can help you as well, like with whatever information I have gotten so far. Um, so I think I'm waiting for Rodrigo to give me a little bit of explanation about the difference on kendo between Americans, Europeans, and Japanese. But I'm going to say one thing, and this is an opinion, okay? And it could be a little bit controversial, but hopefully the way I say it is not going to be controversial. Um, one of the reasons why I think Shimpan is so difficult for many people, especially outside of Japan, is because the lack of experience. And when I mean the lack of experience, I don't mean that people don't have the dam to do it or they don't have the, uh, you know, the main thing it's the opportunities. A lot of the times, the Shimpans that are here in Japan, they have so many more opportunities to do Shiai in a monthly basis, some even in a weekly basis. And I think that that makes a big difference into, the ability to shimpan at a tournament. And a lot of times people complain about the shimpaning and they complain, but I cannot really complain about that so much because I know that outside of Japan, the opportunities are much less. And watching videos and stuff, it's different. Same thing as if you're watching somebody, two people fight, and you are in the fight, the perspective is completely different. Um, so a lot of times people, um, like, okay, Paul, you're saying shimpaning is hard. It's outside of Cali, right? So if you compare that Cali and for those outside of U.S., California, and the rest of the country, well, imagine that, Japan and the rest of the world, right? Here you can find a tournament, yeah, pretty much like all the time. And there's different types of tournaments, like company tournaments, team tournaments, individual tournaments, like kids tournaments, like all different types. And I'm going to say that a big point of the shimpaning at the World Championship, for example, many people complain, and especially the finals, right? When it was like Japan on the individuals or Japan Korea, I understand that they wanted to keep it fair for all the teams, but the experience that the Japanese, and maybe I'm completely ignorant with Korean, uh, how much opportunity they have, but having them, I think it's an asset rather than, it's like a hindering the judging. But what I'm trying to say with this is that we need to make our own homework to study more from outside of our circle. One of the biggest opportunities that I feel that Japan has to offer for anybody coming to do kendo is the ability to see so many different types of kendo. Even though kendo is one, many people do kendo slightly different or like very different from each other too. A lot of times, some people like to what's it called, fight from outside. Some people like to fight closer. Some people have a more relaxed style. Like, so you see different angles of hitting, different timings, and different things that when you have these experiences, you start at least learning how to expect, not to expect, but how to be prepared for these things. So that being said, I always promote people practicing as much as possible with as many people as possible. And that's one of the reasons why I enjoy having this channel, because I made so many friends from here in the Discord. So please, if you ever come into Japan and if I can help you find a practice, we can practice together, I will enjoy to have that opportunity. And always, I mean, you can see that Paul, like, we haven't seen each other in years, but I'm sure that we see each other and then immediately we just want to grab Shina, start hitting each other, and then go for beers, right? So it's one of the beautiful things for me for the Kendo community. So always, guys, promote that friendship within the Kendo community. I really appreciate everybody in the Discord server, because every time that I meet somebody from the Discord server, it's so happy and grateful for the fact that it's such good communication, such a healthy way of sharing, and everybody can share their opinions and we can talk about it and all of us grow together. So guys, I really appreciate you guys for being here. I'm gonna close up the stream and I'm gonna go to the next stream. So if you would like to become a member, please check out the membership perks and stuff. It's a way to support the channel, because there's a couple of things I want to do with the channel that I would like to, you know I need money to do those. I want to hire translators and doing things like that. So yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for being here. Please don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't subscribed to the channel. If there's anything I can help you with, make sure to send me a message. Discord's a good way to do that. And thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Okay. Thank you guys. And let me just make sure that I didn't get okay. Sorry guys. I only have one monitor right now, so it's a little bit hard sometimes to go through the through the comments and stuff. Okay. Okay. Um Akagi Sensei, thank you very much. Good night. I guess good morning still for me, so thank you. Dansen, thank you very much. Thank you. I love having you here. So I appreciate you being here. Guys, thank you very much. You guys have a good one. Take care. I'll catch you guys in the next one.